precedent in the Supreme Court. Am I right to think that the only real protection that we've got about this is voluntary? It's sort of the honor system that these PACs that don't disclose their funders assure us that all of their donors are Americans, that foreign governments and or state-owned companies, foreign companies, assure us that they're not trying to influence things in American government. But we sort of have to take their word for it.
Well, it's an area where there are lots of lawyers and accountants that are busy scurrying about to try to make sure that they can demonstrate, say, that they always had sufficient other kind of money on hand and they didn't have to use the foreign money. That's what we lawyers do, for example. But you're right. The reality is that you can't really know for sure without a thorough system of disclosure. You can't blame a lot of these organizations. I represent these kinds of organizations on a daily basis, and as a practical matter, nobody really wants to have the role of donors disclosed if they can avoid it. But I think, a lot of citizens are coming to be more and more aware of this gap in our disclosure system, and they're getting frustrated not knowing who's behind these ads. So, I think there will come a time, not this election cycle, but maybe by the next election cycle, where someone will tighten up on the disclosure system and we'll be able to know more.
After the damage is done, as it were, in this election round. Scott Thomas, former chairman of the Federal Election Commission. It's really helpful for us to have your advice to call on tonight. Thank you very much.
Happy to help.
Still to come, a giant, adorable chart that moves and maybe shimmies. There's also apparently been a public sighting of Delaware's Christine O'Donnell, the aforementioned Miss O'Donnell, whose singular devotion to the voters of her state and their issues has finally begun in a controlled environment, of course. She is out there. Highlights ahead.